As the Mexican drug cartel leader's trial draws to an end, one thing is clear. Drug kingpins rule as long as they make their partners money. When they stop, they go to jail. But what happens to their empire next? Hey guys, welcome back to The Crime Analyst. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications by hitting the bell so you never miss any of our uploads. And so now, without further ado, let's begin with today's video. Chapo Guzman got to know the drug business at an early age. His hometown was Sinaloa, the heart of Mexico's drug trade. For years, families in the area worked the fields, cultivating marijuana and used to produce heroin, according to Anabel Hernandez, an investigative journalist. Guzman started out working for Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo's famous Guadalajara cartel. The group eventually fizzled into several factions. One of them was Guzman's Sinaloa cartel. The drug empire became Mexico's most influential. And there was another thing that described its leader. He surrounded himself with fearless guards, ruling over a multi-billion-dollar global drug empire that supplied much of the cocaine, marijuana, and heroin spread on the streets of America. In the indictments filed in federal courts across the United States, the prosecutors accused the organization of using assassins to maintain its control. Chicago called him the city's new Al Capone. Head of Drug Enforcement Jack Riley said, while Chicago is around 1,500 miles from Mexico, the Sinaloa cartel is so deeply embedded that local and federal law enforcement are forced to operate as if they are on the border. In Mexico, it is said the power of Guzman's enterprise helped unveil an ongoing drug war which has left thousands of his villagers dead. A high-profile killing made Guzman famous and landed him in jail, the 1993 slaying of Cardinal Juan Jesus Posadas Ocampo. The authorities said the beloved church official was slain by Guzman's enemies, who thought they were aiming at the drug leader. As outrage mounted over the cardinal's death, Chapo Guzman was arrested in Guatemala. Authorities deported him to Mexico, where he was quickly convicted of criminal association and sentenced to 20 years in jail. At the time, Guzman denied any connection to drugs. He told reporters, "I am a farmer." The drug trade in Mexico developed within the state-building project of the Institutional Revolution Party, which rose from the wreckage of the Mexican Revolution, along with a vice grip on power in the capital, and a patchwork at times shaky control of the countryside that had stayed for 70 years through a risky approach of convoluted networks of patronage, corruption, and outright terror. Within this power structure, the drug trade functioned for decades as a source of stability for the federal government in Mexico, which heavily relied on the enforcement power of local drug traffickers to keep the peace in areas with small presence. When the government did crack down on drug traffickers, the violence unveiled in rural areas fell hardest on the peasants at the lowest ranks of the drug trade. In contrast, the rich traffickers with connections to the state usually managed to survive or thrive thanks to the elimination of the competition. It has been argued that the Mexican state's pursuit of the war on drugs has essentially been a campaign of counterinsurgency aimed at soothing and controlling the countryside rather than the destruction of the drug trade. Guzman's reputation for fearless efficiency was noteworthy. In the 1980s, Guzman was introduced to Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo, known as the godfather of the Guadalajara cartel, who assigned him to be in charge of handling logistics. Then Gallardo was arrested in 1989, and his cartel's drug trafficking territories were divided, then later known as the Federation. Guzman was a beneficiary who set up his own Sinaloa cartel with other traffickers in northwest Mexico. In the 1990s, he honed his operation, specializing in the use of special underground tunnels to move drugs across the border. The infamous cartel boss hid in a laundry cart the first time he broke out of prison. Guzman then slipped out through an underground tunnel and rode a motorcycle to freedom the next time. Guzman's legend used to grow even more while he was running. Stories circulated of him helping the poor, or taking everyone's phones at a restaurant while he ate, and then footing their bills for the inconvenience. This image was good for Guzman, even if the stories weren't true. Scott Stewart, vice president of tactical analysis at Stratfor, told CNN He wants to foster that whole mystique. The idea that Guzman was named Robin Hood helped him hide out from authorities and evade arrest, said Stewart. I think there's a false narrative that says Guzman is kind of this benevolent businessman, he said. But benevolent or not, experts say it is hard to dispute Guzman's business savvy. He ran the cartel like a CEO, bringing it so much financial success that in 2009, inclusion in the business magazine's inventory wasn't the only mention Guzman got. He then also started cropping up in Narco Corridos, the popular Mexican songs that often glorify drug trafficking, telling stories of shootings, armored cars, as well as police chases. During his time in Mexico's Puente Grande prison, Chapo Guzman lived like a king with catered food and frequent visits from women, said Hernandez. He said, this prison became a resort for El Chapo Guzman. However, despite the reportedly cushy conditions, by 2001, Guzman was ready for a change of scenery. With only 12 years left in his sentence, officials said Chapo Guzman escaped from the prison. Rumors swirled about his whereabouts during the drug lord's nearly 13 years on the lam. From time periods, investigators said drugs were hot on his trail. However, even as Mexico stepped up its pressure on cartels, he remained a big target. Many in Mexico suggested that his whereabouts were an open secret and that the government must have been desperately steering clear of capturing him. In July 2019, a United States court condemned Joaquin Guzman to a life sentence in prison, as well as ordered him to pay restitution of $12.6 billion for his role in running the Sinaloa cartel, and also smuggling industrial quantities of marijuana, cocaine, meth, and even heroin into the United States. Now, El Chapo is in prison. However, the Guzman name continues to be mentioned in multiple pop culture conversations and even policy debates about security issues in Mexico and the United States-led war on drugs to this day. In October 2019, shooters turned the city of Culiacan in the northwestern state of Sinaloa, Mexico, into a war zone after El Chapo's son was also briefly detained by police. El Chapo's shooters, still working and still armed, held soldiers hostage and threatened an all-out assault on Mexico's government unless Ovidio was released. Also, Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador acquiesced, releasing Guzman's son. In June 2021, Guzman's wife, Emma Coronel, also pleaded guilty to helping to run Guzman's drug smuggling operation after his arrest and sentencing. And yet, between 2019 and 2020, over 73,000 people were killed in Mexico. So basically, violence in Mexico continues to churn at a historically high level. President López Obrador has poured new resources into a new militarized police force. However, he seems less invested in working seriously to improve Mexico's struggling local police forces, or even reform the country's overwhelmed justice system. Chapo Guzman is in prison. There are still numerous questions about what impact Guzman's arrest will have on the security dynamic in Mexico and the drug trafficking organizations which will continue to operate in Mexico. Indeed, money plays a role. Let's not forget that this guy who, in his early 30s, was making $20 million a month. Guzman loved fame. He wanted to be bigger than Escobar, who was the last greatest narco trafficker in Latin America. But there was also a lot of evidence that Guzman was just a workaholic. One of his first employees testified that he never shut up about drug trafficking at the trial. He loved the details. He was a micromanager. He just loved it. Even when Guzman went on vacation to his oceanfront mansion in Cabo San Lucas, supposedly there to have a good time, eat seafood, meet girls, and lounge in the sun. In the end, Guzman is in prison now, and this time he will not be getting out. But does that mean anything when it comes to the drug trade business? The short answer is that it changes nothing. Did you know about Chapo Guzman? Get involved and let us know in the comments section down below what you think about today's video. If you liked this video and found it informative, then be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Also, if you do not want to miss out on any new future videos like these, then be sure to click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification under this video so that you're notified the next time we upload a new video. Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you have a great day today, and we'll see you in the next video.